Welcome to the NWR Virtual Resources Series. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and today I'm bringing you Kalamazoo Resources. The ASX code is KZR. Now, for those of you that don't know, Kalamazoo Resources, a gold exploration company, it's got major assets both in Victoria and in the Pilbara in Western Australia. They've also had some pretty interesting news lately about some lithium projects, I probably should say. Now, joining us today is two. I've got Luke Reinehr, Chairman and CEO. He's down in lockdown Melbourne, so he'll talk about the Victorian Goldfields and what he's doing down there. And then I've also got Paul Adams, the Executive Director over in border closure, Western Australia. He'll talk about the Western Australian lithium and gold assets. Great to see you both. And who are we going to start with? Should we start with you, Luke?
Yeah, thanks, Kerry. And look, thanks to NWR as well for putting on this great series. We very much appreciate their support. Kerry, I'll just let me run through just the usual forward-looking statements if I can. And now just tell you a little bit about where we are if I can. I'll just give you a summary just to start with.
Good idea.
And then we'll jump into some detail if you don't mind, Kerry.
Perfect.
As you said, look, I think we're quite unique for an Aussie junior in that we've got major assets in both Victoria and the Pilbara. And as we know, these are two of some of the most highly rated provinces in the world. Here in Victoria, we're very fortunate that we're going through a second gold rush, and that's thanks to our friends at Fosterville. And fortunately for us, over the last couple of years, we've been first movers here, Kerry, and we've acquired both the Castlemaine and also the South Muckleford gold projects. And between them, they've produced about 8 million ounces of gold and only about 45 k's to the southwest of Fosterville. We've been very busy over the last couple of years, a couple of drill programs, and late last year, we identified what we consider to be an epizonal gold antimony system at South Muckleford. And that's got very similar mineralisation, Kerry, to what was seen at the nearby Fosterville and Costerfield mines. And we're now waiting for some final assays from our second drill program there and to see if we can locate the high-grade gold and antimony shoots. But the great news, Kerry, that's just happened in the last couple of weeks is that the Victorian government has now set to announce the winners of the land tender for the grounds surrounding Fosterville. They only came out, I think it was Friday last week, Kerry. They've said it's going to be announced by the end of October, early November. So it's game on. We'll all wait and see. We understand there's probably 30 bidders for that, nationally and across Australia. So it's going to be, a very interesting time. And then over in the west, we've had some great progress at our Ashburton gold project over the last 12 months. We've just completed our phase 2 drill program there as we look to increase that resource substantially beyond 2 million ounces and also look to progress development plans. In addition, we'll be drilling shortly at our Sisters Gold project, which is just up the road from De Grey's world-class Hemi discovery. And as you mentioned before, we've had a real win just in the last couple of months with some significant lithium potential, which we've identified at Doms Hill. And I'll get Paul to talk about that shortly if I can.
Yep.
So just to quickly give you a corporate overview, I think this is well known. We've got a very tight share register. Top 4 or 5 shareholders control about 50%. It's well known that our exploration activities over the last 12 months caught the attention of Eric Sprott and NWR Resources, and they both came in as cornerstone shareholders and have taken about 7.5% each. Got a current market cap today of about $45 million at our share price today, Kerry. But look, I think we're very undervalued. And in fact, for any savvy shareholder who came in today, they'd actually be buying at a significant discount to what Eric Sprott and Novo paid. So I think that would be a very smart move. Again, we're well funded. We've got more than $6 million of cash and receivables in treasury, and we've got an ongoing stream of options providing continual cash flow.
Oh, that's good.
Also got a strong board and management team, and I know everyone says that, but I'm very proud of what we've been able to put together. But also because of COVID, Kerry, over the last 18 months, we made a very conscious decision early to set up 2 very distinct management teams in both WA and Victoria, and that way travel restrictions haven't impacted on us at all. And I'll get Paul to take you through those WA projects shortly.
Was that sorry to just interrupt for a moment there, Luke?
Yeah.
Was that setting up those 2 separate teams? Was that because of COVID, or were you going to be doing that anyway? I mean, it's turned out it's brilliant, but was it due to COVID? You could see that coming, and that's why you did it.
Well, we did have 2 distinct teams anyway, but we were very much wanting to move our people across both WA and Victoria. Obviously, we haven't been able to do that. So fortunately, it's worked out well for us. But I guess one of the key benefits for as well is that we managed to get Paul to be able to take a more of an executive role, and his particular skill at Spectrum and elsewhere has made us be very seamless. So we're very, very fortunate that's happened. Kerry, now I'll just give you an update on the Victorian gold projects first, if I can. Even though I'm in Melbourne, and we've gone from the most livable city to the most lockdown city, I'm still very parochial Victorian. And I guess one of the things they can't take away from us here in Victoria, Kerry, is that where we're exploring, we have very high average gold grade, it's around about 15 grams a tonne. So, Kerry, even though they might have taken away our freedom, and even though WA perhaps has taken away our grand final, they can't take away our high grade. And so I think we're very, very fortunate in that regard. And so, look, it's well known that Bendigo zone itself was one of the richest goldfields in the world in the 1850s to 1890s. And, the norms, I think more than 60 million ounces was discovered or mined in that period. But Kerry, things have stopped over the last 150 years, and it's only really because of the Eric Sprott-led Kirkland Lake over the last couple of years and the incredible success of Fosterville that Victoria's gone through its second gold rush, and we're very fortunate here that this has all been accelerated by the Victorian government, as I said, putting out for tender, large exploration tenure surrounding the Fosterville mine. As you can see here, these two blocks, which we call Block 3 and 4, they're just 10 kilometres from our northern Castlemaine border. And so we think they'd be an excellent fit for our Victorian portfolio. And, we've lodged what we consider to be very competitive bids for these Blocks 3 and 4. So we're just going to have to wait and see how that plays out, I guess. But I guess the exciting news is that this tender is going to be announced by perhaps early or late October, early November. So, our fingers are crossed. Let's wait and see. But Kerry, I guess the other thing you may have also seen that with Kirkland Lake, they announced a merger with the Canadian company Agnico just a few weeks ago. So it's all happening here in Victoria at the moment. And so it's very much becoming back on the radar.
But Luke, if you were, look, just as a, just saying, if those tenders weren't awarded to KZR, you've still got some very strong projects and a lot of work to do in the Victorian Goldfields regardless. Would that be correct?
Absolutely. We've identified 10 high priority drill targets, which I'll just identify here now over the next 12 or 18 months. So we've got a lot of work to do, but gee, if we could pick up one of those blocks, perhaps, I think it's just would enhance our position. I think we probably have the leading land tenure in the central Victorian goldfields. So we'll just have to wait and see, Kerry.
Yeah. Okay.
So look, our exploration strategy here in Victoria is we're trying to find a large, greater than 1 million ounce resource at, a grade of more than 10 grams a tonne. At Castlemaine, we're well placed. That produced 5.6 million ounces historically. And it's widely considered to be the world's richest alluvial goldfield. And what that means, Kerry, is that there's thousands of historical shafts and workings on our project area. And this provides us with numerous brownfield walk-up drill targets. Yet if you just go 10 kilometres to the west to our South Muckle project, nearly all of the gold there was produced underground at a very high grade of 28 grams a tonne. And of course, you just go north to Fosterville, and they're mining now down to 1,000 metres at up to a grade of 49 grams a tonne. So we're certainly, again, in the right area for high grade gold, which is what we've always said.
Are you along the same sort of geological structure as the Fosterville mine? You're not that far away. Is it the same structure?
Yeah, so the gold in this central Bendigo area is controlled by these, the major north-south structural faults, and so that's the controlling, the major control for where the gold is found in these areas. As you said, we're only about 40 kilometres to the south or west of Fosterville, so it's a very ripe area. And if you look at the three big areas that produced all the gold in Victoria, Kerry, there was Bendigo. Then there was Castlemaine, and then there was Ballarat. So, we're in a good area here.
Yeah.
However, they are structurally complex goldfields, Kerry. And so, we're throwing a lot of, new technologies at that, including, working with the CSIRO on a number of things. And so with these technologies, we've now identified 10 high priority targets. And as you can see here, Kerry, that includes Mustang and Lightning, which we've already drilled. Fentamin, which is that epizonal high-grade gold antimony. target, South Muckleford, which we're wanting to drill soon, Wattle Gully, and then also at Tarnagulla. So we've certainly got a lot of targets over the next 12 or 18 months. We have just completed over the last 18 months 2 drill programs at both Castlemaine and being at both the Mustang and Lightning prospects. And we've received some very nice high-grade intersections there, Kerry, at both prospects. And we've now extended this trend to about 2.5 kilometres in length. Certainly got a lot more work to do there. And currently we've got a project-wide soil sampling program underway there. I think we're recovering something like 5,500 soil samples. And at the South Muckleford gold project, which is 10 kilometres to the west of Castlemaine, that's where we identify what we think looks like an epizonal high-grade gold antimony system. And we've called that Fentimans Reef. The mineralisation there is very similar to what's been seen at nearby Fosterville and Costerfield deposits, which is about 3 kilometres to the west, and which is this prospect is about 3 kilometres to the east of the Malden 2 million ounce goldfield, and a similar distance to the south of a gold processing plant, which is owned by a third party. So it's certainly in the right area. And the historical records at Fentimans, which has got us interested, Kerry, is that it had production in the 19th century at up to about an ounce a tonne, and including up to about 42% stibnite or antimony, which is very similar to what they're seeing at both Fosterville and Costerfield. So over the last 3 months there, we've completed a 4,500 metre RC drill program. And then just in the last couple of weeks, a 650 metre diamond program, and on which we're awaiting assays for. And then just here in Victoria, just to wrap up as to our next drill program, we announced recently that we're wanting to go and drill at what we call our Tarnagulla gold project. And again, this is about 40 kilometres to the northwest of South Muckleford. It was a very productive gold field in the 19th century and produced almost 600,000 ounces at, again, at more than 1 ounce a tonne. This whole area, very rich gold field, and it's just up the road to where they found the Welcome Nugget Stranger, which was the largest gold nugget ever found anywhere in the world. And that nugget itself weighed, over 3,000 ounces, which, certainly puts the Pilbara nuggets to shame. And Kerry, I think if anyone found a nugget of that size today, it would be worth about $8 million just in the value of gold alone. It would certainly look great on anyone's desk, I'm sure.
Yeah, very good on my desk.
Anyone's desk. You'd have to build it up. It'd be pretty heavy. But we've got a 2,000 metre RC drill program planned for later on this year or early next to test some very significant gold in soil anomalies. And so this drill program is also a long strike from the historic Poverty Reef mine, which produced 360,000 ounces at 360,000 ounces at almost 3 ounces a tonne, which is really quite something. So we've certainly got a lot of targets here in Victoria, Kerry. We've got the land release as well. So there's certainly a lot happening. But believe it or not, I think what Paul's doing over in the West even puts that to shame. So what I might do if I can is maybe throw over to Paul and get him to give you a bit of an update as to what's happening there.
Yeah, and while you're going over, Paul, I'm just going to an anonymous attendee who said, with 2 busy programs being run across 2 states, is the company adequately staffed to be running these concurrently? Yes, Mr. Anonymous, they have plenty of staff, and they've actually set it up in such a way that both are doing extremely well, and the teams have been set up. Sorry, I just want to answer that because there's absolutely no issue there. Paul, over to you.
Thanks very much, Kerry, and thanks, Luke, for taking us through Victoria. Grand final was great, by the way. You should have been there.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, just sort of taking you through our Pilbara assets briefly. We had a great development in Kalamazoo. About this time last year, actually, we acquired Northern Star's 1.65 million ounce Ashburton gold project. And the project's located about 300 kilometres to the south of Port Hedland and only about 40 kilometres south of the town of Paraburdoo. So even though the Ashburton has always been, somewhat seen as a bit of an outpost, we can be up on site very, very quickly indeed, and access is fantastic. This project's been on our radar now for some time, and obviously Luke, with his background in that region in the Pilbara, was well aware of the potential of the Ashburton Gold Project. So we've had this now for just over 12 months. And as you know, the Pilbara has been subject to some major gold activity in the last 12, 24 months, particularly with the grade. Calada's building their Warrawoona project. Capricorn are basically up and running. Nova at Beaton's Creek and other projects. And so, you know, the Pilbara's had this very, very strong gold focus over the last 24 months, and we're pretty confident that we could get the Ashburton project up on a similar development pathway. You know, the nice thing about the Ashburton Gold Project, it's already got a pretty large resource, but that resource is also at a pretty healthy 2.5 grams a tonne. So, you know, that's a great place for us to start. Over the last 12 months, we've completed 2 drill programs, and we've drilled just shy of 20,000 metres over that time period. We're now starting to see some really encouraging results, you know, of medium to high grade gold mineralisation, and particularly at a zone that we call the Waugh zone, and that is WAUGH, not WAR. Just want to clarify that. And the Ashburton sort of given us this sort of combined brownfield and greenfield regional exploration opportunity. Our drill campaigns are really giving us confidence in that increase beyond that 1.65 million ounces, heading towards 2. And at the moment, we're also involved in a number of research projects looking towards putting the project on a development pathway. Some of the work that we've done is obviously reviewing Northern Star's plans to build a 100,000 ounce per annum CIL plant and then build a stage 2 sulfide plant at the project. These plans were shelved by Northern Star back in 2013 when the gold price dropped, and obviously the project's been sitting dormant essentially till we came along about 12 months ago. So we just see it as an outstanding opportunity, really, particularly with the gold price $1,000 higher than where it is now. So as an overview, it covers 217 square kilometres, got 7 mining leases, including 3 mining leases, 4 exploration leases. It had already produced 350,000 ounces. And when Northern Star took it over from SEPA back in sort of 2010-11, they very quickly added 1 million ounces through drilling campaigns at Peak and Mount Olympus. So we believe there's tremendous opportunity to take that even further. And we got great infrastructure on site too, you know, there's power, water. We got the nearby gas pipeline should we get into development. There's already a core farm, there's a great camp, there's an airstrip. So we kind of got all that for free, basically. So in our first drill campaign, we drilled about 5,800 meters. We concentrated on extensions to the mineralization from the old Waugh deposit. And there's an old open pit there as well. And we had some very, very nice grades, as you can see in the table here, Kerry. And with our development plans, we have been focusing on the metallurgy. It's obviously a key factor for us, as much of that 1 million ounces that Northern Star drilled at depth has at least in part a refractory nature to that. So that's key to our research studies as we move the project forward. Our phase 2 campaign has only just finished. That started in sort of May, June this year, went extremely well. We had a combination of RC and air core program there for about just shy of 15,000 meters. I think about 6,000 or 7,000 in air core there, testing some of these regional greenfields type targets. And our drilling campaign has now extended moderate to high grade mineralization either side of that Waugh pit. And now we've got mineralization sort of striking about 2.5 kilometers now, right the way through that zone from east of Waugh, right the way through west and into our recently discovered Annie Oakley deposit.
Paul, sorry to interrupt you. Has that surprised you to the upside, not just with some of the intersections that you're getting? It sounds to me like this Waugh prospect could be even more exciting. I'm looking at it going, is that surprising to the upside even better than Ashburton has?
Even Mount Olympus? Well, no, I mean, you know, we take the view we've just scratched the surface here. You know, there are lots of prospects that have been identified by soil sampling, for instance. And we discovered sort of the extent of the Annie Oakley deposit prospect only recently. There's a lot of ground to cover here. Obviously, our strategy initially has been to look for expanding our oxide resources. But you know, we've at Annie Oakley now, the mineralized trend is now 400 meters. We've only had half a hole back in terms of assay. Right. And that hole had a 17 gram intersection in it. So there's plenty of opportunity here. And again, you know, we've got a lot of work to do here. Just want to turn our attention, time's getting on, to lithium stuff. Now, this has been a bit of a free kick for us too, in some ways. It came about recently after a review we did of our Doms Hill gold project, which is about 45 kilometers to the northwest of Marble Bar. And we came across this, you know, obviously it's been in the portfolio for some time, primarily as a gold prospect, but it's been now identified only relatively recently that it has significant lithium potential. And this has been a great opportunity for us. You might be aware, you know, a lot of countries around the world now are committing to net zero carbon emissions. EVs, internal combustion engines, will probably be a thing of the past by sort of 2035 for most countries. And that's, of course, you know, spurring this terrific demand in lithium price. But in our Doms Hill project, we've recognised that we've got about 25 strike kilometres of extent in the Goldilocks zone, which is this area between or on the margins of these granite contacts with the greenstones. And this is where most of the Pilbara lithium deposits are hosted. And it does appear to be, at least with the magnetics, and you can see on this figure here, a little bit of an analogue to the area that contains the Pilbara deposits, right? So we think there's tremendous potential at Doms Hill. And I should point out, even though it's pretty close to probably one of the best lithium projects in the world, Doms Hill has never been explored for lithium.
Wow.
So we've got an active program going on at the moment. We've got a 4,500 soil sample program actively going on right now. We're about halfway through that program. And, you know, we believe we've already got some walk-up drill targets at Doms Hill. I would like to mention just briefly our Sisters project. That's been prospective for gold and lithium indeed for a while. This is about 45 kilometres directly down the structural corridor that hosts De Grey's Molina Gold Project. And you can see on this map that's situated along this Waugh shear zone, and that's pretty positive for us. We identified 5 drill targets here late last year, and we hope to be drilling those in, I guess, the coming 6 months. Obviously, elsewhere in the Pilbara, heritage issues are becoming increasingly problematic, but we're actually very confident now that we'll be drilling this in the first half next year. And we're in the final stages of permitting on that project. So that's just a brief overview of what we're doing here in WA. Luke, would you like to wrap up?
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Paul. So as you can see, Kerry, we've certainly got a lot on both sides of the continent. Just quickly, just talking about valuations, I think you'll see that, you know, we believe there's significant value in both our Victorian and our Pilbara projects, and perhaps even our lithium project going forward. But if you look at our current enterprise value per resource ounce, which I think we're very undervalued at the moment, and how this is calculated, Kerry, is that the average EV per mineral resource of our WA peers that have a minimum of 500,000 ounces of resources is about $72 an ounce, as you can see on this chart. And so that's the average. However, Kalamazoo, just on our Ashburton 1.65 million ounces, is currently valued at $27 per ounce. So we are inherently undervalued. And what that doesn't give any value at all, though, or nil value to our Sisters Gold project, our potential lithium project in the Pilbara, our Victorian assets, and even perhaps, potential land tender success. So, very undervalued in my mind. The question is asked, why is it undervalued?
Yes.
And I think the primary reason is that the Ashburton project literally has been sitting on a shelf for 10 years. No one's been aware of it, and it's only now that we're trying to unlock its value. So my mind, for any shareholders or potential investors, I think this is a real investment opportunity for them. So Kerry, let me just wrap up if I can, because I'm sure time is tight for you.
Yep.
I think we're well placed to achieve success over the next 12 or 18 months. We've got 100% of major gold projects in both Victoria and in the Pilbara. Here in Victoria, we're searching for the next Fosterville, and the Fenimans discovery potentially has got a real upside for us as well. And if we were to have success with one of the blocks of the land tender, well, I think it'd be game on as well. At the Ashburton, Paul and his team are doing great work in looking to increase that resource close to 2 million ounces, and we've made some real progress on potential development plans. Going to be drilling along strike from De Grey's world-class Hemi discovery soon, and who knows what might come out of our Doms Hill lithium project. Got great support again from our shareholders, and we are well funded. And most importantly, for all juniors, we will be continually drilling over the next 12 months, and which will ensure constant news flow. And as we know, there's nothing like drilling. So, Kerry, that's a summary. Happy to open up to any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you both very much, both you and Paul. I've got a couple of questions for you. How much of your WA exploration focus will now be centred on lithium only?
Do you want to answer that, Luke?
Oh, there you go, Paul.
Look, we're in a pretty early phase of our analysis of Doms Hill, and we've got other 100% owned projects around Marble Bar too, which is no slouch in the lithium department. So we're going to complete the soil survey. Let's see what comes out of that. We've already made an announcement to the market that we have a walk-up drill target at a 2.5 kilometre long anomaly that we've already identified. So we will be drilling that. Let's see what comes out of the project-wide soil campaign that we're currently doing. And then we will start to allocate a budget towards that.
Sorry, Paul, to interrupt. We're running out of time. My last question to you both is, or probably to Luke, would you think of spinning off the lithium assets into another company to give some value that way?
That's a very interesting question, Kerry, and it doesn't surprise me that you actually kind of figure that out. Look, it's early days, Kerry, but yeah, we'll wait and see. But look, we will always do what's best for our shareholders. So if it makes sense, yeah, well, we might look at it. But let's put a bit of meat on the bones first, I would think.
I think that's a very good idea. Put some meat on the bones, guys. We've run out of time. I love your project, and clearly so does Eric Sprott, and Quentin Henne being on the board is a testament to all the good work that you're doing. It's been great to see you. Thank you for joining me at the NWR Virtual Resources Series today.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kerry. Bye-bye.